We have a very special guest speaker with us who's going to give our closing remarks. Many of you already know her. The one thing I regret, and the one reason I would have wanted to go back to TLC is because she wasn't there when I was there, and it would have been great working with her. She came on board in, I think, 2011. We became friends after she joined the board as the Queen's team, just got reappointed. So thankfully, her reason, her independence, and her gravitas, and also her willingness to listen and act and speak up will be there for all of you, whether she agrees or disagrees, until 2022, I think, if you want to stay there. But she's a great person who's committed to a lot of causes, a great lawyer. Her name is Nora Constance Marino. She was also, and I keep forgetting this too, she was also in the military with the JAG Corps as a first lieutenant, is very supportive of our veterans, is very supportive of helping the fight against animal cruelty. The last thing I recall is that she had, I think, 3 rescue animals. I think now you've doubled your fleet. So it must be interesting stuff going on in the house. But she went to school on the West Coast, but also was a tried and true New Yorker, someone from Queens who ran for office. Too bad you didn't win, but we have high hopes for you in the future if you ever decide. All you got to do is say the word. She's been listening very intently. She is, I'm sure, going to go back and speak to the chair and other members of the board on what she heard here today. And I want to thank everybody for I know we disagreed on a lot of different things. And once again, for the record, Commissioner, Uber and Lyft were invited several times. Unfortunately, when we have crowds like this where we have difference of opinion, it's unfortunate. We would love for them to show up and just talk about it. At least we got the group representing the Uber drivers here to talk about some of those issues. But we do these events, I think maybe in light of everything that's going on with the TNC law, Westchester, and so we need to do them more often. But I want to thank you for spending the time today. And I give you Commissioner Nora Constance Marino. Yeah, that's what a singer, by the way, too.
Thank you, Matt. I'm equally as fond of Mr. Dowse. I'm very glad that we become friends and got to know each other. It was kind of a last-minute decision for me to come here today. For those of you, I don't know if everyone knows, but there's supposed to be 9 commissioners on the TLC. Only one of them is paid, and that's the chair. A lot of people think that this is a paid position, and it isn't. And I just want to make that clear because it really, I think, matters with respect to the time I can devote to the commission and to the industry, and the time I would like to devote having this position. That said, I feel like having this position, it comes with responsibility. When I first came on this board in 2011, I barely knew the difference between a yellow livery and a black car. And I remember asking myself, I'm a small business owner. I have a law firm, a small law firm, it's mine, built from the ground up. And when I came on the board of the commission, I remember thinking, well, how would I feel if there were 9 people regulating my business and none of them had ever practiced law a day in their life? And that's kind of what I saw myself as. I didn't know anything about the tax industry. And here I was on this board, and I'm going to start voting and making decisions on people's lives and their livelihood. So I made it a point, and I appreciate Matt for mentioning it, to really have an open door policy and listen and be educated and learn everything I could. Despite the fact that there was a salary or no salary, I met people at 4 o'clock on Fridays, 1 o'clock on Saturdays. I see Ethan Gerber in the audience. I know he's been to my office. Dave Pollock, I saw here before, he's been to my office. I've always had an open door policy. I want to talk to you about something, want to educate me, please come in. And I've taken every vote very seriously. By the way, I voted no on the tax suit tomorrow. I think I was alone in that vote, or maybe one other. What? I was alone in that vote? I was the one dissenter. I voted no on the tax suit. I've been the lone dissenting vote more than once on this commission because I don't think this is a popularity contest. I'm not out to gain anything. I'm just trying to do the right thing here. Which brings me to why we're here today, because this is by far the most challenging issue I've seen in the 6 years I've been on the commission. And I'm not sure what the answer is. I've listened to a lot of what people said today and agreed with a great deal of it. What's happened with the e-hail apps has turned this industry upside down. We all know that. And I see a tremendous amount of unfairness. I see a tremendous amount of inequality. I've always felt that in a lot of ways we've had our foot on the necks of the yellow taxi industry with our regulations and our rules. I'm sure every regulation rule perhaps had a good intention, but sometimes pendulums swing, and a good intention may not play out effectively. However, with the e-hail apps, I'm not seeing all these rules and regulations. It seems as though they get all the benefits of being an on-demand service without any of the disadvantages. And it creates a very unlevel playing field, as we all know. And again, I try to think about that as an example I can relate to myself. What if there was a new industry of attorneys that came into the profession that didn't even need a law degree, or didn't need to follow any of these rules, or didn't have to follow the canons of ethics, and could charge whatever they want? Like, who's going to survive and who's going to go under? So that's what I see happening here. The problem is, I'm not sure what the answer is. And I don't believe our chair, Nora Joshi, has all that much power. I really believe that Commissioner Joshi has the best of intentions, but I think her power and authority here is limited, as mine probably is as well. We've had, the numbers have varied, 50 to 70,000 new cars put on the roads of our city without any type of a traffic study, without any type of an environmental study. I mean, how do you do that in a city like New York City? Yet, there it is. I mean, I'm just one voice on this commission. I come to a hearing once a month. I've mentioned my concerns. I was at a Met game about a month or so ago, and on the big TV-tron thing they have in the stadium, about the 8th inning, it flashed on the screen, want to get a car, get an Uber at 126th Street. And I'm thinking, they're not supposed to be doing that. That's a stand now. That's now a taxi stand. I voiced my concerns. I don't know if anything's happened about that, but they are, it does seem like, I think Brad said the Wild West, or a free-for-all here. And I'm at the point, I've been in this commission 6 years, where I feel like either we need to own what we're doing and what we're allowing and step up to the plate and say, we're going to say goodbye to the yellow industry and this is how it's going to be, or we need to do something about it. But I don't want to be here pretending like we're doing something about it when we're not doing something about it. So we either need to own what's happening and accept that this is the wave of the future, or do what we can to stop it. I really think that being genuine here is important. I prefer the latter, frankly, to do something about it and not let this happen. Matt brought up something very interesting about branding, which I think is really important, and I really agree with that. And like you said, the millennials, they don't even know any other way to get a car. And I think this is something that really needs to be addressed. I have family on the West Coast and in Los Angeles, and they all have the Uber apps on their phones. My sister, my brother-in-law, my age, not millennials. Although, but no, and their impression of Uber is that, it's just necessary, because in Los Angeles, before Uber came along, you had to wait 45 minutes to an hour to get a taxi. They just didn't have the system that we have here anymore. So Uber has different effects in different cities. This, however, is New York. We had these three groups of cars. We had the yellows and the blacks and the liveries. We already had a system. You didn't have to wait 45 minutes for a car here in New York. You could get a car in 10 minutes in our system.
1 minute. Maybe 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Well, I'm in Northeast Queens. If you're going to call car service, the most you wait is 10 minutes. But it's a different system. Well, that's a whole other topic. Again, it's a whole other topic.
But it's not 2 minutes.
Oh, wheelchair accessible is a different breed completely. And I respect that. We can get into that a little bit. But speaking to my family in Los Angeles, they welcome this industry because it really provided a service that simply wasn't there. That's not the case in New York. We have the service. We have good, quality, regulated, monitored, vetted service. We didn't need this influx. And I'm not saying that I'm against technology. I'm very technologically savvy. I've had, tablets and the state-of-the-art computers and phones and all that. I love technology. But we can't allow that, under the guise of technological advance, disseminate these industries that are functioning perfectly acceptably.
And with respect to the medallion, that was a promise, and that was a contract, and that was an exchange of large sums of money, and whether it was $83,000 in 1980 something, which is the equivalent probably of $800,000 today. So let's put things in perspective. There's that thing called inflation. You know, I mean, that was probably a lot of money back in 1987 or whatever. So we sold these medallions in exchange for a right. And because of these finite differences in our definitions of an on-demand or prearranged, the odds have become unbalanced, obviously. And these differences were differences that didn't exist when the system was set up. There wasn't the technology. So we've had this question, many of us have had this discussion, is it on demand, is it prearranged? I hit a button on my app, a car shows up. What is that? It's so gray. It's just not black and white like the yellows and the liveries of the black were or are. One's clearly prearranged and one's clearly not. But the technology has really blurred those lines. I've always said we needed a fourth category for e-tail apps. We just needed to create a fourth category. You have the yellows, you have the liveries, you have the blacks. Why not make a fourth category and develop rules that are suitable to that fourth category? It didn't happen. Like I said, I'm a part-time commissioner. I don't get brought into a lot of these conversations. But what happened was we kind of shoved a square peg into a round hole and shoved the e-tail apps into the black category, which I think is kind of inappropriate. So now we're stuck with the fallout. And I'm open to any ideas that anyone has to how to fix this. I've actually asked certain people for ideas. The first thing I think we need to do is lighten the regulations on the yellows and strengthen the regulations on the e-hails. That's the first, to try to balance those scales. I mean, one industry member suggested to me just something as simple as partitions. Why do yellows require partitions, which prevents conversations with passengers, will reduce tips?
Air conditioning.
Why? Air conditioning, all these things. Why is the yellow car driver's life at risk, but an Uber driver's life not at risk? I mean, these are just inequalities that shouldn't exist. I mean, the requirement to have on certain makes or models of cars on one segment of industry, but not the other, that creates an impediment for the one that has the requirements. Earnings being regulated. If we're going to have these regulations, we should just have them for everybody, not just for one set. The other thing I wanted to touch on is the price we're paying as a city for the efficiency of having this system where you can click an app and get a card in 2 minutes. What's happening there? How does that happen? There has to be a whole bunch of empty cars in the area circling around in order to get that service. So what's that doing? What price are we paying? And this is something the millennials should be thinking about, because they're the ones that are going to be inheriting this planet. It's a lot of emissions that are going up into the air. A lot of pollution is being created by having 10 or 20 cars in the immediate area. So you get that car in 30 seconds or 60 seconds or 120 seconds. What about the traffic that's being caused by those cars circling around? So you're seeing this short-term efficiency, but what about the long-term efficiency effects that are being created by having this influx of cars all waiting for fares? Not only is it going to be harmful to the planet, the environment, the congestion, the city, just getting around, accidents perhaps, but it's not good for the drivers, for any of them. The industries were set up, from what I understand, and I'm not an expert from the little research I've done and with the assistance of some friends, the system was set up to create an industry where people could support their families. Instead of having just a free-for-all on the road where everyone is scurrying for a fare and barely making enough money to bring home every day to put dinner on the table, there were limitations created and regulations. There are only going to be X amount of medallions in this city, and this way, and they're going to cost a lot of money, and the city's going to make a profit too, which is great, which is good for the city, blah, blah, blah. The city gets their chunk too. But this will create an industry where everyone can make a living. So now we have this influx of all these cars, and as one of the speakers I think on this panel said, the passenger demand has remained the same, and so now who's making a living?
Nobody.
So not the Uber drivers, exactly, because they're still getting a piece of every single fare.
The one they invest.
So
in the cookie jar.
exactly, they have their hands in every single cookie jar. So I've thought about this, many times. I've talked to people about it. I want to do whatever we can to fix it. I've been on this commission a long time. I think this is by far the biggest challenge we're up against. It's David and Goliath in a lot of ways. I'm open to ideas. I think deregulation of the yellows and the other sectors, as opposed to stricter regulations of Ubers, is a place to start. But it has to be significant. I mean, at our last hearing, I think we voted on the new cars that the yellows were required to get. We loosened up the rules on how many years you have to replace your car with a new car. That's great, and these are good moves. But in a sense, I feel like they're band-aids. I mean, because this is happening so fast. It's like the Titanic going down. And when the guy said, "Oh, what if we close the doors?" And he goes, "That'll buy you time, but minutes only." Like that's the way I feel we are with this industry. It's going to buy you minutes only as the ship is going down. So I'm open as a commissioner. My email is nora@marinojustice.com. My website is marinojustice.com. It has my phone number. I'm willing to listen to real ideas to do something. We are up against a lot of challenges with the city council, the mayor. There's politics involved. There's money involved. I don't know that this hemorrhaging can be stopped, but I would like it to stop on my watch while I'm on this commission. I feel like being on this commission, it's an obligation and responsibility to serve not just the city, but the industry, the drivers, everyone, the passengers. It really is an obligation. And as I said, as a small business owner, I think I'm the only small business owner on the commission, so it gives me a very different perspective because I always try to put myself into the shoes of the small business owners whom I regulate. How would I feel? How would I like this? Wouldn't I want to be able to talk to somebody? Wouldn't I want to be able to express my opinions? And that's why I've always had an open door policy. So that policy continues. Thank you for letting me speak today. And let's try to plug this hole. Thank you very much.